Hey there everyone, welcome back to a new year, new video, new challenge. This is again another challenge of the month by Jora Jazza. The line art is by Jazza himself. I do think it's one of his better art pieces. I do love just how he went about doing this, considering this was like a random challenge. Like he had like a poll and he had to do a ghost with the power of love in an apocalyptic future or something like that. It was a brilliant video. At the moment I'm kind of just messing about, seeing some concept, and I wanted to do like a colour to darkness, like, well, it's colourless without her, and he just feels like it's all dark and grey and dingy, and she's the light, so to say. And let me tell you, at the moment I'm separating out the elements, and it was fun to try and do because there are so many elements in this piece. I'm not one to do complex pieces. I study animation in university. I'm in my third year, finally nearly done. I mean, I love going to uni. I love uni, I'm glad I did it, but by God, it will kill you. Refer you to my last challenge of the month video, and I mentioned how I may have had a slight mental breakdown at some point during, an actual one. It wasn't fun. But this year's a lot calmer. But then I'll be going into real life, hopefully. You know, having actual work. I will say, because of the amount of detail, it makes it very difficult to separate out the elements in this piece, and I totally mess up this side. I fix it a lot later when I'm actually focusing on the background. I do a lot of different things with the actual characters. Like, I'm trying to decide how I'm even going to colour them at some points. But, you know, having fun. At the moment I'm doing everything grayscale, just having like a mid-tone, a lightest tone, and then just a light tone, and then a darker tone for the background. Like, everything in the background is like 50, the front's 25, and the back is 75. Well, round about that, however close you can get with a slider, you know. I couldn't be bothered to type in the numbers. And here I am trying to figure out a colour scheme, because I was still playing around with what I actually wanted to do, which is why it's not the most efficient workflow. When you don't know what to do, you just gotta play with things. And I encourage everyone to do that. Sometimes the best things come out of playing around, and I do think the final result is something that's alright. You know, this isn't something I would normally draw myself even, but I do love the challenge of colouring it, and this, I believe, is in his brand new colouring book, and he's done the transfer of these traditional pieces to digital very well. The lines are clean and clear, and it's quite incredible. I am not one to do line art these days. Only really do line art if you've seen my previous two videos, which is my animation. It's hard to animate in block colour. Now, at the moment, I'm trying to, I'm actually shading him first off in grey, and I'm like figuring out the muscles, the light. I'm not brilliant with lighting. I'm getting better. It's always, and I actually think it's quite helpful when you have something else that you didn't draw to shade and colour, something that's actually good, precisely. Because it does actually help you see it, and sometimes it can inform the decisions you make. I don't know if that makes any sense. It makes sense in my head, but I'm just messing around, figuring out what the darkest colours are. I'm thinking that he is going to be very dark at this point, and originally I was going with a monotone with a pinch of colour because of this ghostly ethereal blue. I love this blue. And I'm thinking, oh, okay, maybe if I just do her in this one colour. And I was like, actually no, let me try shading like and playing around with different blend layers. I don't normally play around with blend layers, but you might see my screen at some points because my setup's not exactly the easiest because I put everything on my desk in a nonsensical way, and sometimes I press the wrong buttons on my keyboard, and you just have to see my background of Neville. You've probably seen it in some of my previous videos. I try to cut those out, but I have other things to do. I'm working on my FMP, my dissertation, and one other project, professional development. They're the only projects I've got this year, thank God. But I'm trying to do them as best I can. I'm working through with some further darks, a few lights. I'm thinking like maybe she emits a light from behind her and the colours emit some semblance of light. Oh, then I tried adding colour to him, so it's going to be a very light. And this is when I start pulling all these things together. Like, it starts to get refined now. I quite like her messy painting style. You'll notice throughout this entire thing when I'm actually doing painting, when I'm doing the colouring in, I use one brush, and that's the Chalk 11 brush, and I love it. I don't know why. I discovered it last year, and I have not stopped using it. With the flowers to be the brightest thing here, so they have the most colour, while everything else is like very light, very, it's just very implies colour. Here I was trying to make it a bit more solid. I eventually later on reduce the opacity of this main colour layer, and I'm going over the top of it at the moment, just to darken it down a bit. But I do like how this turned out. Sorry if I keep coughing. I have been a bit ill for a while now. And this is when I changed her colour scheme. And I'm going with block colour because I had a feeling that he was more solid, but she was, but I was going to make her slightly transparent later on. And I wanted to use actually opposite tones to him. He's painted very cool, murky colours, while she's in some warm, bright tones, which is what you can clearly see here. So I kind of did the reverse with her. Instead of going in with the shading, I went in with the colour. Well, with him, I went in with the shading, then the colour. And I thought it was fun. As I said a million times, I did not know what I was doing at any point in this. But there is one colour which carried through just to tie the things together. Like, I used this green, which is the green of his scarf, and that in the other tone. I made it so she had an open mouth. I know I could probably have gone with that just being her teeth, but I feel like I will say her impression, I think, could have been a bit different just to add to it, because she's just kind of not even really looking at him. She is, but it's not very obvious. And I'm playing around with colours again. I know sometimes you don't know what colour you want until you go through the different blend layers. Yeah, I think just having an open mouth does emphasise just how she's upset that he's upset. She wants him to move on, but, Oh, and it did have another effect looking like blood on the pink dress. You'll find out I don't really go too deep into the shading, because at the moment I went into Divide, paint with black, and it comes up as white. Just to start making her look like this ghost. And then I added in the blue. My favourite colour. I love blue. And I made sure that her face was still, clear. Oh, and I wanted him to look darker, so blend modes again. And just messing around with them. It does look a lot better on my Cintiq monitor than it did on others, just Let's play around. You can see. I just wanted to increase the lighting on him, adding some more brights, like having his tears be quite stark compared to the rest of it. I actually have no idea if roses are actually blue, but I wanted to have a clear, cohesive colour scheme. And I think this is when I started going in with the background. I made that monochromatic. It is all grayscale, minus the sky. Later on, which you'll see, it is barely, you can barely tell that it's got blue in it, the sky later on, but it does. I feel like I could have probably done more with the background, but I'm not a background person. I'm not very good at them, and I really don't know how to shape them. See, I'm fixing it now. I didn't bother going into the other layers, I just went with it, sort of fixed it up as I went. Here we go. You can see there's some blue in there, into the clouds. I did this on a whim, and I quite like how it turned out. And now I'm bringing in some rain. I actually realised I did this on like one of the most bottommost layers, and I brought it on top and made it look so much better. Added a bit more depth. Well, we're reaching the end of this. I would love to see one of you guys do this. I think it's actually a really good challenge and really good exercise. See, I'm like messing about with her, and I mess about with him later on just to make him a bit more murky. But I hope you like this. I'll see you next time. Bye.